Miles away from the Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh stand towns unchanged for nearly half a century. Far away from the city lay the graves of millions and the living hell of millions more. It is here, in the fields, in the killing fields, that the brutal history of the Cambodian nation becomes apparent. 40 years ago, Cambodia entered the most tumultuous period of its history. In a revolution ignited by the neighboring war in Vietnam and fueled by fears of Western domination, every aspect of the country was impacted. A century of westernization was undone in less than a decade. After 4 years, 2 million people, nearly 25% of Cambodia's population, died from starvation, murder, disease, and forced labor in what would later be called the Cambodian Genocide. And all this was done by a man named Pol Pot, the man whose leadership led Cambodia to ruin. Even after 40 years, the legacy of Pol Pot and his deadly Khmer Rouge regime remains painfully apparent in Cambodia. The government, which has never truly become a democracy, still operates in a one-party system dominated by former Khmer Rouge politicians. The struggling economy continues to be dominated by agriculture, a consequence of the agrarian revolution under the Khmer Rouge. The nation as a whole, with its educated and outspoken middle class murdered or dispersed throughout the world, has yet to emerge in the global economy. But worst of all, the population still bears the scars of genocide, a genocide carried out by one of their own. Pol Pot was born in 1925 to a moderately wealthy family of farmers in central Cambodia. As a child, Pol Pot traveled to Phnom Penh, Cambodia's capital, for schooling. His cousin bore the king a son, and his sister was a royal concubine, so Pol Pot was exposed to the royal palace and the inner workings of the government often.
Growing up in the royal palace isolated Pol Pot from the everyday Cambodian community.
After graduating high school, Pol Pot enrolled at a college in France where he was exposed to and participated in various communist movements, most notably those of the Marxist Circle and the French Communist Association, movements that would later define his own political party. Upon his return to Cambodia in 1953, Pol Pot set up the Marxist Circle in Southeast Asia, a party based upon the Stalinist and Marxist ideals that he was exposed to in Europe, but also by Maoism, a movement that stressed the role of the peasant and the importance of agricultural production.
That caused them to adopt policies that were not only very nationalistic, but even extremist and anti-urban.
In 1954, Cambodia finally gained independence from France, after King Norodom Sihanouk used the ensuing turmoil to repress the communists and other left-wing groups. The path of legally gaining political support for communism was blocked. From this moment on, the organization was highly secretive. By 1960, Pol Pot had consolidated power, and he and the communists set up their own party with the help of the Vietnamese near Cambodia's eastern border. The party emphasized the importance of an agricultural economy and saw a feudal peasant society as the ideal social structure, a society in which the rural peasant class was the lifeblood of the revolution. They also advocated independence from foreign dominion and promoted extreme xenophobia. As the war in Vietnam began to spill into Cambodia, the United States began a massive bombing campaign on Vietnamese supply lines in Cambodia.
These massive bombs destroy property, injure and kill millions of people.
The idea of independence from foreign dominion and conflict began to resonate within the population.
The result of that were a lot of devastation and killing of peasants in their villages, but also a lot of anger in the countryside, and the Khmer Rouge guerrillas led by Pol Pot were able to recruit a large army.
By 1970, even the legislative government of Cambodia had become discontent with the king's rule, eventually removing his title as head of state. By October of the same year, the Kingdom of Cambodia was formally dissolved and the Republic of Cambodia took its place. With growing popularity and promises of aid from North Vietnam, Pol Pot denounced the Republican government and raised an army in the east, marking the beginning of the Cambodian Civil War. The North Vietnamese struck first and attacked the Republic of Cambodia's army. The communist forces quickly captured large areas of eastern Cambodia. After the North Vietnamese withdrew from Cambodia in 1973, Pol Pot and his army resumed fighting and eventually took the capital city of Phnom Penh on April 17, 1975. From there, the country was swiftly conquered.
Khmer Rouge took it over, and that is changed a lot in my life. Changed my life. All the Cambodian, 6 million population Cambodian, changing. That's terrible.
Within hours, the plans that Pol Pot had been crafting for more than a decade came into effect. The Khmer officers, with commands that can be traced all the way back to Pol Pot, lied to the populace, spreading rumors of impending invasion from the Vietnamese and American. In a frenzy of confusion, disorder, and terror, people were herded out of cities and forced into the countryside and jungle. Enforcing conformity and discipline, Pol Pot persecuted any and all ethnic and religious groups contrary to the communist movement, and anyone who opposed the Khmer Rouge officers. Those who showed signs of wealth, education, and intelligence were murdered on the spot.
In that time, there's no rule, no law, no nothing. If you say no, if they want you to do something, if you say no.
After the reorganization of the population was complete, only a few thousand Khmer Rouge officers remained in the cities. The rest of the population had been relocated to the jungles. Here, they were set to work, forced to labor in massive rice farms and to meet quotas requiring 3 harvests a year, a nearly impossible task. Forbidden to farm any other crops or to raise cattle, the population starved.
Life in Luxembourg is life and death without food, without shelters, without love. It's a violent act of cruelty.
Meanwhile, Pol Pot was shutting down his nation politically and diplomatically as well. Westerners and foreigners were deported, embassies abandoned, and all international trade halted. The monetary system was abolished, and all traces of French influence and the pre-communist government were destroyed. From 1975 until Pol Pot's exile in 1979, Cambodia was in utter isolation. Easily treatable diseases like malaria and measles ravaged the population. As 1975 wore on, the combination of disease, starvation, excessive labor, and such radical change caused the death of hundreds of thousands of people. As nearly 1 million people had already died by 1977, rice exports began to stagnate and dwindle. Pol Pot claimed Vietnamese spies were sabotaging production, and in a matter of weeks, nearly all of the 20,000 Vietnamese people in Cambodia were murdered. When that failed to alleviate the troubles of the country, Pol Pot issued a series of systematic purges to eliminate other accused spies. Although the original intention had been to remove anti-communist and anti-Pol Pot sentiment from the people, the purges quickly degraded into widespread paranoia and unorganized slaughter.
And they raped people, women, some of them screaming, crying in the bush. My older sister, she was killed when she was pregnant. I think she got pregnant about 6-7 months, and she got killed.
Aggravated by the death of their citizens and increasing hostility from Pol Pot, the Vietnamese government retaliated and re-entered Cambodia, this time fighting the very man it had once supported, Pol Pot. Pol Pot and his inner circle, hearing rumors of the Vietnamese army closing in on Phnom Penh, fled from Cambodia on January 5, 1979. By January 7th, the Vietnamese had captured Phnom Penh, and within another week, all of Cambodia. As land came under Vietnamese rule, farms were liberated, and in the coming years, some Cambodian refugees were able to immigrate to America, while others escaped to neighboring countries like Thailand and Laos.
Cambodia never changed, it's still the same. So I had to find out the way how they get out from Cambodia.
The occupying Vietnamese, reluctant to give up their newly gained territory, remained in Cambodia throughout the next decade. It remained this way until the Cambodian government was finally restored under the former Cambodian monarch, King Norodom Sihanouk. At the same time, Pol Pot set up a small insurgency financed by China and lived along the Thai-Cambodian border for the next decade. After years of secrecy and hiding, on April 15, 1998, former Khmer Rouge officers agreed to testify against Pol Pot in an international tribunal. That same night, Pol Pot was found dead in his bed, a death that is thought to be suicide. Despite the fall of the Khmer Rouge, Cambodia still bears the scars of genocide and mismanagement under Pol Pot. Although significant improvements have been made in Cambodia during the last century, the nation remains one of the poorest in the world, a still deeply agricultural society with the majority of its weak economy centered around rice harvests, a product of Pol Pot and his failed agrarian socialist state. Cambodia also has one of the largest rates of disabilities and handicaps, caused by more than 6 million undetonated mines located throughout the country, a practice started by the Khmer Rouge and continued by the occupying Vietnamese forces. The intellectual middle and upper classes of Cambodia have nearly ceased to exist, their most prominent members arrested and executed. The foundation of Cambodia, the middle class and the educated members of society, were murdered. Even after Pol Pot's passing, his government still exists in Cambodia, as the nation remains a one-party state still influenced by his government. Cambodia's Prime Minister, Hun Sen, was a former Khmer Rouge commander and has been in power since 1985. In this way, although Pol Pot is gone, his party and its policies still exist in Cambodia today. From 1975 to 1979, the population of Cambodia was united under Pol Pot's leadership, abused for a common goal, and killed for their differences. Communism swept across the country, bringing with it an idealism that emptied cities, tore through the countryside, and scarred every aspect of Cambodia for decades to come. Today, an antiquated agrarian economy and a struggling intellectual population serve as deadweights on a country that never got the chance to free itself from the man whose legacy will haunt them for many years to come. 40 years and 2 million deaths later, Cambodia stands as a broken nation. And although the days of the Khmer Rouge are long gone, it is clear that for the people of Cambodia, Pol Pot has never left the killing fields.